Hey everybody, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever time zone you're in. Welcome to Wireless Chat with Josh and Matt. Very excited. We've got Dave Denherter, the co-founder and CEO of Marsico, with us again for part two of our interview series. Dave, welcome back.
Thank you, Josh. Good to be back.
So, we started getting into some of bigger points last time we talked, and after that interview, we really need to dial in on some of those details now and pick your brain a little bit more. And we're really grateful that you're here to give us a little more insight into, I don't know, I guess the last 30 plus years of your life and how we went from a kitchen table to a multi-state distribution company. So really excited to talk about a couple different issues. As I've grown with the business, I've had the opportunity to see some of those things, really kind of play out real time. So one of those things was around building a business that lasts. And what are some of your ideals that guide building a business that lasts?
Yeah, I think it's a really important question, Josh. And I look at business, I worked in the nonprofit sector, an important part of our society, makes great contributions. A lot of people kind of get hung up on business. Oh, it's just an opportunity to make money. And certainly it should be that, but it's way more than that in my mind. And, business is, I would almost say it's a calling. So it's the only institution, and I do believe that business is a social institution. It's the only institution that actually creates value. So, a business takes raw materials, it takes human resources, it creates a product and a service, and that's a great contribution to society. I think it's a very important contribution to society. It creates products and services at a cost that's less than people will pay for it.
Yeah.
That's called profit, and that's again, business is the one institution that creates value. A really good example. I like to use this example. In 2007, before the iPhone was launched, nobody knew they needed it. In 2008, after the iPhone was launched, that product that they didn't even know they needed, now they can't live without.
Yeah.
Right. That's just a great example of creating value. Something that people want, are willing to buy and willing to pay you more for it than it costs you to make it. And look at Apple. I think that's really been a driving principle at Apple is, we need to create products that people want to buy.
Yep.
And they're now a $2.7 trillion company, largest company in the world.
Yeah.
It's foundational. It's a principle. It doesn't matter if you're selling long distance phone cards or peanuts or pencils, whatever it is you're selling. It's a principle that I think is critical to building a business that lasts. It's the purpose of a business is to create a customer and create value. Then the second part of that, of course, in my mind is, so now you've created value and people are paying you more for that value than it costs. Now you can hire people and you can give them jobs and you can give them opportunity, and they can buy homes, they can buy cars, they can send their kids to college, and maybe even more importantly, they have that opportunity to realize their potential. They can take their unique abilities or unique talents and then build a career around that.
Yeah. Relatively speaking, in America, it's easy to start a business, right? It's not very difficult. The more difficult thing is making it last. So what are your thoughts, Dave? How do you make a business scalable for the next 5 years, and how do you grow?
Yeah, I mean, the next 5 years, that's I'll give you maybe three things, right, that are going to be important for us in the next 5 years. The first is transitioning the business to a leadership team, and EOS talks about delegating responsibility. That's a critical part of growing any business. You elevate and delegate. That's the choice of words. But delegating responsibility is different than delegating authority. And so building a leadership team that is cohesive, that can make all the decisions necessary to run a business, and not just run the business, also has to make all the decisions relative to growth and taking advantage of opportunity, making sure the culture is correct, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
A key part of what we need to do in the next 5 years. And then secondly, I would say, and going back to 2003, when we hired Andy Roon, we were not a very big business. I'll be very honest with you. It was a handful of people in the basement of a grocery store.
Yeah.
And I gave him really his job description was, you need to help us leverage technology to create a competitive advantage.
Yeah.
Which he did. And he did a great job for us. But that really never changes. And today, looking forward to the next 5 years with the advances in artificial intelligence and just all of the advances in technology, we have to embrace technology and really use it to leverage a competitive advantage.
Yeah.
And then the third thing I'm going to say is to be product and service agnostic. We have a lot of core competencies in this company. We're obviously a distribution company.
Yeah.
We're a sales organization. We now are a reverse logistics operation.
Yep.
We have pretty sophisticated logistics capabilities. We have, an IT department. We have HR. We have finance. We can apply all of those competencies to any number of business opportunities. And I think it will be important in the next 5 years to keep looking for those new opportunities that maybe we can participate in.
Yeah, I think that's great feedback, Dave, and certainly stuff that folks can take and apply to their world, right, to their doors, their business. Certainly different pieces of that will affect different dealers in different ways. For those dealers that are new to the business, or they've only got one store, maybe they've been around a while and they're ready to start scaling, they're ready to take that next step. Dave, what would you say is probably the most important, like the first step in starting to scale?
Yeah, honestly, and I may have said that in the last interview, Matt, it's intentionality. I mean, we made decisions from day one. We want to grow this business. And so any opportunity we had to grow it, we did. Growth trumped all other decisions. So you really have to have the mindset of growth. We're where we are today because of decisions we made 10 years ago. Right. And the decisions we make today will determine where we'll be 10 years from now. So it really is a mindset, and it has to be there if you're going to be successful, at least in the growth phase. The other thing I would say, cash is king. You have to have capital. And if you don't have access to capital, you have to raise it. We grew primarily on the profits we had. We did have some opportunity for OPM. I love OPM, other people's money. And we leveraged that over the years. But it's really critical that you, I guess, make smart decisions about how much money you take out of the business. If in fact you want to grow and you want to be built to last, and you're going to need capital or cash moving forward. And then, every situation is different. So, we were, one of the more unique strategies we used to grow is we leveraged aviation. We were a little company in Grand Rapids, Michigan, 600,000 maybe in the metro area, competing against LA, Chicago, New York, Philadelphia, big company or big cities with huge backyards, customers very close to your base. We had to get outside of Grand Rapids. We had to get outside of our backyard to grow. And we leveraged aviation to do that. And I would say we were able to grow faster than our counterparts. We were able to get into markets that were not easy to get into with commercial aviation. Yeah. and we were able to leverage our talent. So we got the right people in front of the right potential customers quickly, and we didn't burn people out. You slept in your own bed
Yeah.
more often than you would have if you had to rely on commercial aviation.
I think that's important, right? Certainly, not everybody is trying to scale and grow into a national business, right? Where private aviation certainly comes into play. You may be just trying to own Philadelphia or Denver or Atlanta, right? And you've got to find what differentiates you and what you can do different than who you're competing against for that customer.
Getting into, you've scaled the business, right? You've grown it, you've gotten it bigger. Now it's time to talk about sustainability. What components do you need, Dave, for longevity? What are some things that you just need to make sure that you're around for the long haul?
Josh, this is really very basic. It's not gonna sound like rocket science, but I'll give you a couple things that I think were critical. We had a saying in our office: they always come back.
Yeah.
We were, when we're selling phone cards, there are no barriers to entry.
Yeah.
If you had a trunk and could buy some inventory, you were in business.
Yeah.
And we had people, competitors, soliciting our accounts all the time.
Yeah.
And many of them were willing to work for little or nothing.
Yeah.
Right. We had to keep our prices at a level where we could actually make some money. And the way we kept our customers was with customer service. It's critical. They write your paycheck basically. So we would tell our customer base, you're never going to lose a penny with us. And in those early days selling phone cards, there were some bad actors out there. That phone card company would quit paying their bill and the 800 number would get shut off, and basically a phone card became worthless at that point.
Yep.
But we always took those losses. We never saddled one of our customers with that.
Yep.
The customer is king, and it's just critical that you take care of that customer. And then the other thing is the temptation is to grow fast. But if you're losing your business out the back door as fast as you're bringing them in the front door, you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
So you have to grow at a pace where you can keep the customers that you've built or that you've acquired.
Yeah.
And then add as fast as you can without losing a customer. So that would be one. And this is also really basic, Josh. We use QuickBooks, and they have a feature called inventory part items. So at any point I could click the mouse and I would know exactly how much money I had made. And I see a lot of businesses that they're not really sure if they're making money. They're not sure how much they're making.
Yeah.
I always knew exactly how much money I was making. That allowed me to make smart decisions about reinvesting the profit.
Yeah.
It really is amazing how many business owners have no idea how they make money, right? They just they open up the account, there's money in there, and they just go about their day. Sometimes I think we've all sat down with folks and try to explain a comp plan or things like that to them, and they don't know. And I think if you're going to maximize the comp plan, if you're going to really be profitable, you got to understand how that money's coming in and how to keep it. Is absolutely critical. Dave, so S&S is an ideal that you have, right? Sustainability and scalability. What are some of the other ideals? Do you have some other acronyms for us that you kind of live by, or that you kind of run your business based off of?
Well, I have one, Matt, and I really wish that this was a word I had invented. It's not a word I invented. It comes from Charlie Munger. The word is assiduity. And what it means is if there's no opportunity, sit on your ass and do nothing. Right? So, and I sometimes say, well, the best growth strategy is doing nothing.
Yeah.
So I think it's really critical that when you look at growth opportunities, that you are selective, that you make sure that it fits with your company culture, it fits with your there's synergy maybe with your existing customer base or your competencies. And if it's not a good opportunity, if it doesn't hit some key metrics, it's better to do nothing, save your cash, wait for a better opportunity, be patient. We live in America. It's the greatest economy in the world.
Yeah.
Opportunities come up all the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You are better waiting until that right opportunity comes up. And until then, it might be wise to just sit on your ass.
Good advice. Absolutely.
It's business gets bigger, right? You've now scaled, you're sustainable, but you've got to have that finger on everything that's happening, Dave. How do you do that?
Well, and I'm gonna give a plug to EOS on this. And Josh, you've been with us since the year 2000, so you've gone through all of the various growth phases, along
Yeah.
with all of the chaos that comes with that. And we were good enough, but I wouldn't say we were great at managing growth or managing chaos.
No.
We were standing in the end, which is, of course, probably the most important metric.
Yeah.
But EOS, and honestly, I was introduced to EOS by Meg Lehigh. And, I read the book and I was, quite frankly, underwhelmed. It's like,
Yeah.
well, this doesn't seem all that, brilliant or insightful or, but we implemented EOS, I want to say in 2021.
Yeah.
And so a little over 2 years ago, it's been a game changer.
Yeah.
So really, in terms of keeping track of everything, keeping everybody focused, keeping people working on the right things, EOS has been a real important piece of our success.
Yeah.
Dave, was there a certain point that made you realize you need an operating system? I mean, EOS is an entrepreneurial operating system. Is there something, I know there's lots of different kind out there. Is there something that, really stood out, made the light bulb go off that you needed an operating system?
Well, yeah, I mean, we had merged with Universal Wireless in 2016. We were running both companies. We were running them with the same leadership team. We had some tools in place. But one of the beauties of EOS, it's really comprehensive. It's built in such a way that it pretty much addresses everything that a business needs to know and needs to do. And I didn't necessarily see that initially, when I'm just reading the book, but now in retrospect, looking back, it is comprehensive and it does make a difference for that reason. Why did I pick EOS? Honestly, it's the one thing that was available.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, I read the book, Meg recommended it. And we had implementers here in West Michigan. We had an implementation meeting with an implementer that it was an impressive presentation, and we use him today. He's just very skilled. Scott Patchen is our implementer, and it's just been a real win ever since we made that move.
Yeah, it would have been nice to have that framework 20 years ago.
So you could have used it back then?
Yeah.
Well, Josh, I think there's a lot that we can dive in further with Dave on EOS, and I'd like to put a pin in that and actually come back on that, and maybe do one of these 15-minute videos around EOS and operating system and how that can help our viewers that run their business as well. Dave, really appreciate today, man. You've given us a lot of great tidbits. One of the major things that I came away with is differentiation, right? What do you do that really sets your company apart from your competitors, right? You talked a lot about the different things that you guys at Marsico did to grow and get into other markets and just be different than the people that you were competing with, and which helped you scale and certainly helps you sustain the business. And definitely encourage our viewers, no matter what color your sign is out front, a lot of people have the same color sign, right? What do you do different than those folks that have the same color sign? Not just different than the people that have different color signs. What do you do that sets you apart and makes people drive past them to come to you? Find that. If you don't have it, find one. and make sure that you do it to the best that you possibly can. Guys, we appreciate all of our partners. We appreciate all of our viewers, for everything that you do. If you're not a partner of ours, please reach out to the link below, get in touch with us, find out why it's better at Marsico. Please like, share, and subscribe to our videos, and we'll get you a new video every week. Dave, we appreciate you, man. We'll bring you back next week if you don't mind, and we'll talk a little bit more about EOS.
That sounds good, Matt.
Thanks. Appreciate it, everybody. Y'all have a great day.
Thanks all.
Take care.